Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be working on the hero section of the Spense challenge. And a couple of the obstacles we'll be facing today is number one, the check marks next to the unordered list, because by default they're bullet points. And then this little div over here, we're going to make that from scratch. It's not going to be an image. And we're just going to be using absolute position for that one. So it should be interesting to learn. And yeah, this is where we stopped last time. We just did the tooltip or the announcement bar at the top and the nav bar. We made it responsive. And now we're just going to tackle the content. We're using flex for this one. So we have a left side and a right side. That's what we're going to be working with. Just put everything inside content. And we're having left side and a right side. Not entirely sure if this is the best naming, but we're just going to roll with it. Let's also turn on our SAS file. And this is the end of the nav bar, so we're just going to add content here. We have left and we have right. So over in the left side, we have in H1 paragraph and an unordered list, an input, and a button. So let's just do that real quick. H1, copy paste all of the text, the paragraph. Also want to toggle word wrap. I like using it. And then an unordered list, three list items. Quickly copy paste all this text. Now I just look at it right now. Ooh, what is that? This needs to be outside of the nav bar, which we had it inside for some reason. Okay, that's much better. And then we have our input type email placeholder john@exam.com. And then we're going to have a button with a class of CTA. That's going to say get started. Cool. So that's fine. And then on the right, we're going to have the withdraw box, which is going to have, and let's give that an H3. It says April earnings, and then a horizontal line, and then an amount, so let's say paragraph, $272, whatever, and then an href with class of CTA. Cool. And then we're underneath that, we're going to have an image, the source of assets, hero image without box. In the assets folder, you'll find the hero image with a box and without a box. Ideally, you should be using the one without the box just to practice your absolute positioning. But if that's too tough for you, you can use the one with the box inside of it. Cool. So we have that fixed. Now, obviously, not the best looking yet, but we'll fix that in just a second. I think we have everything that we need. Now it's time to style stuff. First of all, we're going to be adding flex to the main or the parent div. Line item center. Justify content space between. So that fixes it. And then in the right, I'm going to give the image a width of 100%. Cool. All right. And then we're going to want to add a gap between this and that, the left side and the right side, which is going to be 7.25 rem, gap of 7.25 rem. Okay, And now let's just get started with the left side first, and then I'm gonna head over to the image. So for the left side, we have the head one, the header. That's gonna have a font size of 56, so that's 3.5 rem. So font size 3.5 rem, and line height, that's probably gonna be 1. 1 seems good. No, 1.2. Cool. That's fine. And we're also gonna give ooh, it's gonna take the color for the background color for the paragraph. I'm gonna add it to the paragraph over here. And this one is gonna have a margin bottom of, or we could just add it to the paragraph. So that's 0.5, and so yeah, we're gonna add it to the paragraph instead of the header. So let's go here. Margin of top is gonna be 0.5 rem because that's 8 pixels, and then right is gonna be 0, bottom is gonna be 1 rem, and then there we go. Much better. And then let's tackle the unordered list. So right off, from what I remember, I think we need to add or target the pseudo element. So that's what we're gonna do. First of all, we're gonna remove the list, the bullet points by doing list style of none. And then we're gonna target the li, particularly the before or the pseudo element before. Add a content of URL, and then the assets, choose the check mark. That should work. There we go. And then we're gonna add a margin right of, I think it was 16 pixels, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, so 1 rem. So that's all good, but you can see it's not quite centered yet. And so I think we need to do that in the UL. If I add display flex. Nope. Okay, so in the list items, yeah, probably the list items. I don't know why I did the UL. Yeah, there we go. Just align items center just to make sure. There you go. And then we want a margin of, how much is it right now? Compute it. Really need to find a better way of doing this. So currently there is no margin between them, which is fine. But I do want to, hold on. So in the styles, because it looks like there is no, it's not centered. So let's just do display flex. I'm not entirely sure if this is probably the best way of doing this. So I guess it's just not centered by default. I'm not entirely sure if there's a way to fix this. If there is, please do let me know in the comments. But for now, we're just going to add the margin that is in the Figma file, which is 8 pixels. So we're going to do and target the LIs. So every single one of them, except for the last one, we're going to add a margin bottom of 0.5 rem. There we go. And now for the, see, for the input, we're going to do a padding of exactly the same, I think, as, so 1824. So 18 divided by 16, that's 1.15 rems, and 24 is 1.5 rem. There we go. It's perfect. And then we're going to add a border radius of 5 pixels. And also get the stroke color, which is this little one over here. Border is going to be 1 pixel solid, this color. There we go. Perfect. And for the button, you can see there's a little like border here. I want to remove that. So what I'm going to do is target the button over here. Do border none. That should fix the issue. Yep, there we go. Now we just want to take the input and the button, which is right here, and just give them a margin of 32, I think. Yeah. So 2. Margin top 30 or 2 rounds. There we go. So the left side is now all done. And that was relatively easy as well, so that's nice. And then what we're going to do is start working on this little box over here, which shouldn't be too difficult. What we're going to do first is we're going to add position relative to the image. And then for the withdraw box, we're going to have a position absolute. Ooh, what is that? That is weird. That is super weird. So let's just do this. On the right, we have the withdraw. Ah, it's because it's inside the withdraw div. I'm stupid. So we're just gonna get it out here, and that should fix the issue. Position absolute. I'm also gonna give it a z index of 99. There we go. And a background color of white. Great. I'm gonna have a margin or a padding of, I think it's 16 and 20. Let's add a 20 on all sides. Padding is gonna be 5 rems. We also want to add this to be a display inline block. Great. And a border radius of 5 pixels for the entire thing. The withdraw box. We are also going to give it a margin of 1.25 rem. And the reason I'm doing that is we want it to be in this position at all times. So that's working fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add, again, margin for every single thing inside the withdraw, except for the last child, say 1 rem. And that's for some reason not working. Oopsie, that's not working. Yeah, that's better. Let's make it 0.5. There we go. So now, if I resize, you'll see it'll always be in that position. One last thing that I want to do is stuck to the top for some reason, so we're just going to give the content div a margin top of, say, 40, which is 2.5 rem. You know, much, much better. Now, obviously, this isn't responsive, so what we're going to do is, I think FlexWrap fixes this problem. So let's see how we should be using it. I think that's how you should be using it. Let's give it a shot. So I mean, that fixes it, but not what I'm looking for. I want it to only work on certain sizes. So I'm gonna have to keep Googling for this one. But for now, I think what we could do is we're going to take the media query that we did last time, so this one, and I'm going to add it to specific elements. For content, what we want to do is at this screen size, the content, we want it to be flex flow of a column instead of a row, I think. There we go. And we also want to reverse it, so it's going to be column reverse. Much better. We also want to reduce the gap to 2 rems. Also take this same exact media query to the stuff that you want to, adjust. So the font size is currently too big on mobile. And so let's just add it. I think it's 36. Yep. So 36 divided by 16, that's 2.25 rems. There you go. Much, much better. So that fixes the responsive part. And yeah, that was, again, surprisingly smooth. I figured I'd have more problems with the flex wrap. I do want to read more about it because I feel it's not supposed to work this way. I feel like it should detect like what sort of size of screen you're on and then, do the magic on its own, but it didn't. So I'm going to have to read up on that. But for now, this solution is working fine. Everything is working well and is responsive. Again, like I said in the first video, I'm a designer who's learning how to code, so this is probably not the best way to do this. So don't roast me, please. And if you enjoyed this video, again, any suggestions you guys have, I'm more than open to hear them. I'm learning with you guys. I'm trying to grow with you guys. So hope you enjoyed this and see you in the next episode.